morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Zeroy. Good to see you. Thank you. Class is in session. Thank you for being here on a rainy day. And we'll have roll call, please.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Present. Mr. Legesse? Ms. Polk? Mr. Snipes? Mr. Snipes? Ms. Peters?
Present.
Ms. Dunbar? Mr. Fairfield?
Present.
Mr. Zenz?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Swanson? Ms. DeColo?
Here.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Seroy?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Certainly do. Thank you. Thank you all. We have an announcement to make. First of all, is that there's one opening on the ICANN Joint Education Commission that needs to be a county board member. So that's the announcement. There will be response at executive committee. The minutes were sent to you from October 15th. Is there any comment or is there a motion to accept them as printed? Ms. Parker and Mr. Featherling, you want a second? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes from October 15th, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Was there a public comment? I searched the back and no one said they wanted to comment. If you chose your mind, okay, nobody changed their mind. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Mr. Hendrickson will report.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. Do you want a motion in a second?
I will do that. And good he's here because I need a motion. Mr. Eckhoff, any second? Mr. Enns, and any comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say aye. Motion carried. Please go ahead.
Okay, I have very little to bring to you today, just a few announcements. Starting next Monday, we will start accepting filings for the general primary. We'll accept those from the 25th through December 2nd. So if you are a candidate or you're interested in being a candidate, for anybody that's watching on Facebook or on YouTube, Monday's the first day. So got that going on. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? Okay.
We're having a discussion over in the corner over here about the length of term.
Everybody will be serving a full 2-year term in 2021, or the census is next year. In 2021, the county board will meet to redistrict, and the number of county board seats and the boundaries thereof will be decided by the county board at that time. So then in 2022, all of the county board spots will be up.
Mr. Carrico was mentioning that his term right now goes through 2022, so that's
Correct.
the one that have already been elected.
Right. So, any other questions on that? Our office is currently doing our 10th year that we're doing our fundraising drive for the Center of Hope.
Mm.
So if you do have any foods, non-perishable items, please drop those off at our office, and through December 18th. And then on December 18th, we'll get those over to the Center of Hope, so we can take care of those of us that are less fortunate in the Kankakee County area. The only other thing that I had is I just wanted to tip my hat to my staff. The past month, past month or so, my wife has had some health concerns and kept me out of the office probably more than I wanted to. They did a hell of a job. So I just wanted to thank them.
You're very grateful, I see. Here's a card for you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and thanks for your help too. Appreciate it. I hope everything is well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Nice to be in love.
Well, you need to ask for that.
All right. Okay. Speaking of love, Mr. Blair will come and give his report. While he's coming up, would someone move that his report be accepted? Please, Ms. Peters, Mrs. Polk will second it. All in favor of accepting the report of the assessor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, aye. Motion carried. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Just a few things to go over with you since we last met in October. Just wanted to let you know that we did receive all of the township assessor responses on all of the open appeals that we took during the appeal time. We did take right at 270 appeals this year, which is a little bit of a lighter load than in the prior year. I think last year we took about 323. So we took a little bit less this year at 270. All of the tentative decisions by the Board of Review have been issued to those that have filed appeals. So along with that, then we have set the final date for all of our final hearings, and that final date will be Thursday, December 19th, which is exactly right in line with what I would have hoped for from the beginning of the year. So we're right on track there where I wanted to be. Couple of things that are coming up. Obviously, then we still have to hold all of those Board of Review hearings. Then I'll have to determine if we need any equalization at the final abstract level, which typically doesn't happen, but I'll go ahead and mathematically make sure that we don't need any equalization at the local level before I submit anything to the state. And then once that's done, just before the year is out, I plan to hand over all the final abstract documentation to the county clerk, just like we have the last 5 years. So that's kind of a picture of what's going on in our department, what's been happening and what's about to happen. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Someone have a question? Let me ask you a question. I was looking at the laws that have been proposed for the state, and one of those is House Bill 961 is for Cook County, and said if you have a homestead senior citizens enrollment, you don't have to do that for 5 years, but in our county we do it every year. The senior citizens do, right?
Actually, it's optional for each county whether or not they make senior citizens reapply for the senior exemption itself. Our county does not make seniors reapply each year. You do have to reapply for the senior freeze because it's income based, and your income can change from year to year. You could go to the boat and win some money or something like that and not qualify for a year. But I am aware of some smaller counties that wouldn't get quite the influx of people at the counter that do make seniors come in and reapply for their senior exemption every year. Our county historically has not done that.
So it appears on our tax forms and just keeps appearing as long as we're alive.
As long as you're alive and you maintain ownership of the property, then yes. As soon as the ownership changes, we do have something in the system that we mark so that in the next year it would fall off, and it would be handled accordingly.
And whoever buys the property would apply if they were applicable.
Exactly. It would be in their name if they were a senior also.
Good. Thank you for your answer. Okay, Mr. Snipes.
Just for the record, so when they review this tape, they will know what qualifies the age of a senior.
Sure. I know there's different thresholds for different types of things. So as far as the senior exemption, it's 65 years. You have to be 65 years of age. You have to reside in the property, and you have to be owner of the property, owner of record. So those are the qualifications to get the senior exemption itself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? You're good.
All right. Have a great day, folks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Just looking for a recorder. Not here today. Okay. In your packet, though, is a report of the recorder, so could I have a motion to approve that report? Mr. Eckhoff, Ms. Peters. Okay. Next is your, all in favor of approving this report, say aye. Thank you. All opposed, say aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Ms. Dunbar is next. Okay. Turn to the next report for animal control. Also, Ms. Boudreau is not here. We have her report, though, but do you have her report? Yes, you have her report also. Look on the page that says Animal Control Report. Okay. Ms. Dunbar, what would you like to do? I'd like that. Is there a second, please? Mr. Zuccolo. Okay. All in favor of approving that animal control report, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say aye. Motion carried. Any questions, comments? No? Okay. So zooming right along, let's go to Animal Welfare Advisory Committee for her monthly update.
She sit next to you, Carol,
Oh, why don't you?
since we're working in tandem. Okay. Good morning.
Morning to you.
We've been busy. First of all, we'd like to thank you for passing the inhumane treatment. Went on to the state's attorney, back to the county board, and it was approved Tuesday night, so we're very excited about that. Some of the things that we have been discussing in AWAC, we had a really ambitious meeting, I would say, last week. Of course, our reckless owner ordinance is on hold right now. It's still with the state's attorney for the language. And we also talked greatly about meeting with the Sheriff Downey and Ms. Laird to get together of how AWAC can be supportive of the transition of animal control to criminal justice. And we're hoping that we can meet with them in the next month so we can set some goals and objectives for our group for 2020. The one thing that we have been concerned about for quite a while is our wildlife. We've been discussing how a lot of people are feeding birds, wildlife, bread, which, you know, all good intentions, but it's very bad for the fowl to be eating that, and it affects their flight. And we have been asking some of the park districts if they could put signs up not to feed the fowl. And we're pleased to announce that Ms. Tutt confirmed that the Kankakee Park District has ordered and purchased, but not yet installed, 10 signs about feeding wildlife that will be going up. And other areas would be the Kankakee Boat Club and areas near the Kankakee River as well. And the signs we found out are at a cost of $55. And we were so happy. We want to meet with other municipalities, such as, I'm going to use Momence as an example, because as you know, along the river there, how many of the geese are there and how many people frequent the park, and maybe even talking to the municipalities and cities about purchasing those signs. If not, a few of us have offered to pay for the signs, and if it was approved by municipalities, that they could put one there, that we would, our personal, not county or anything related, that we care so much about the wildlife that we would do that. So if you go to your township meetings or to your municipality meetings and that's brought up, please let us know when we can get those signs from the Kankakee Park District at $55 each. The other thing that we have been working with and hoping to get more students from KCC to be a part of volunteering with different shelters, because there's always a need for those animals to be prepared and socialized so they're able to be adopted. And so far we're not getting many students to help right now. It's just a really bad time, but we're working with Lindsay Cootie of the Animal Club at KCC, and hopefully we can find someone at ONU that will be able to help. Should we move on then to the code? Mm-hmm. And bless Carol's heart, because she has eagle eyes, and we really appreciate it. She had some time with the ordinance that was passed for the County Code Section 10.1, Animal Control Personnel, Animal Control Subcommittee. It states that 8 members, there are 7 voting members and 1 non-voting member was in the ordinance. We have 8 members, And those include, of course, which is mandatory, of the 2 county board members, myself and Carol, and 6 other voting members. We have 3 from shelters, Dr. Fedro, Ms. Tutt, Ms. Jamnick, and 2 at large, which is Christy Slaby and Abby Smith, and then 1 voting veterinarian, Dr. Wagner. So we have 1 more than what is listed in here, and we are asking to have this amended to have 8 voting, and of course, 1 non-voting would be the administrator of animal control.
So how do we do that? Motion. Ah, can she make the motion? Okay, Mr. Snipes has his hand up.
I just have a question, then I'll make the motion. So basically, you're going to continue to keep the ex officio non-voting member. You just want to add the 1.
Right,
So it's a total of 8 voting and then the 9.
exactly.
Okay, so I make the motion that we move forward.
And what you would say is increase the voting members.
Increase the voting by 1
to
By
8.
1.
and keep the 1 ex officio.
Ms. Dunbar, will you second that? Yeah, thank you for that. Is there any discussion? It's just that they're already on the committee, so it's good to have the ordinance match what's already there, and they're very, very good members.
Oh, exactly. And we started with 9, and we're at 8 right now, and we have a great representation from the shelters, from the community as well. All very well informed. And as I said, we're looking forward to working with Sheriff Downing and Ms. Laird in the transition to the new criminal justice mode.
Is Mr. Washington, do you have a comment? Oh.
Go back to
Oh, wait.
non-feeding the birds.
Okay, wait, let me get you on microphone. Are you 9? 13, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Going back to the non-feeding the birds, I've observed people come with containers of corn, grain, corn.
Excuse me. Yeah, please, you're valid, but I'll hold your thought. Okay, so the motion is to increase or change the ordinance back to 9, so there's 8 voting members and 1 non-voting, is that right? All in favor of approving that for recommendation to executive committee, is that right, Mr.? To the full board back again, so into the December meeting. All in favor of moving that forward, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Okay, motion carried, it'll just go back. Okay, now for the birds.
My question is,
For the birds.
will that be forbidden as well?
It's bringing,
They're feeding them grains of corn.
Oh, no,
which is acceptable.
I think that,
That would be acceptable. I think they're talking
Bread.
the breads and the hamburgers and throwing everything out there for thinking that it's going to feed and keep them nourished. It's really harming them.
Right.
I can't remember what Don Tut said about the bread and why it makes their wings.
Wings, that makes their wings heavy and they can't fly. In case there's something chasing them, they can't get off the ground.
Mr. Wheeler. Wait, did we miss something?
Thank you. They should go gluten-free and it might help. So we have no jurisdiction in the municipality, just keep that in mind. So it isn't forbidding, it's just a public awareness thing.
It's just an awareness
Yeah.
for the welfare of all the animals, whether it be foul or furry.
Wow. Wait, thank you, Mr. Zero.
Will it say to feed them proper foods, or what will the sign going to say?
Oh.
Just don't feed them?
Yeah, the sign has an X on it, do not feed bread. It does, I don't think it
Yeah.
has a menu to feed them.
It
It
just
just- Here's the number to order your lunch. We'll try it. At the next meeting, we'll bring, it was on her cell phone, is why we
Yeah,
didn't have a
we
copy
didn't
of
have
it.
the sign itself.
We were just pleased that it came about. There was a local printer that made it and had them, they are ready to install. We were just pleased with that. So like, did that solve that? And no, just says want not to feed. Okay, Mr. Snipes, please go ahead.
I would with that because feeding the birds is a part of the history of America. They have done it for ages. What I would like to see, if it is possible, even in the park, is if they can just get a paper to kind of educate them, because my thing is that if we don't want them to feed, we do want to let them know what they probably can feed. But if there's just like a little paper that's there that can be handed out for those individuals who, you know, want to feed the bird and kind of want to know, then they'll know what to buy.
You know, the thing that we were noting at the meeting is that there used to be, when I was a little child, and there was animals at Bird Park, you could go visit the foxes and things, a little dispenser where you put your little on your, so that was the other part of our conversation. Can we go back to the grain coming out of the, you know,
That's what they do in Wisconsin.
that's what they do in Wisconsin?
We would love to see it happen here.
You
But
can make
it
a lot
would-
of money. Excuse me.
Great, let's get
You
to
could
that.
actually fundraise if you had those everywhere and they were 50 cents and you turn it and you got a penny's worth of corn out of it. You know,
Right.
but
We
somebody
have
has
to
to maintain.
maintain
They have to maintain it, and it'd have to be within their area there. And then we had worried about destruction of and robbery of a few.
coins.
You just
low-
never know.
How low can you go?
It's been
Turning
pretty
you
low
off.
lately. Been pretty low lately, but we're thinking of the welfare of the animals, and we know that it's going to be a harsh winter. We want to make sure that the animals are fine.
All right, we have taken care of the birds and the fowl and the fish and anything else you'd like to say?
No, just setting some goals and long-range planning with Sheriff Downey. If we could, I'll be calling you to set up a meeting with you and Miss Laird, if that's possible.
Anything else? Mr. Snipes?
Just one, and they have a mass amount of raccoons that's in the area, and some are on individuals' roofs and the whole 9 yards. Because they are wildlife, they let them be, but there's times that they're up on the porch, and the individuals are saying, and they're trying to shoot them, and the raccoon looks there, shoo them, not shoot them.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, when you said, I said, shoo them. The raccoon is just looking at them or whatever. And so at what is it, or what is the proper, I guess, procedures to get a raccoon moved, especially when they have gotten so comfortable that they've expanded the family and they have a family of them with the
comfortable.
female. Yeah.
I think that would be a question for Miss Tutt of Wildlife or Miss Laird. How to handle.
Oh, Mr. Searoy knows. Okay, hold on a second. All right.
Number 10.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Robert, there's people that go trap those raccoons. They're in the phone book, wildlife trappers, and they will catch and release those critters to a safe area where they can thrive. So I think I can't think of the name of the guy, but he's in Beaverville, I think, that does raccoons, squirrels, skunks, bats, all those things, that possums, all that stuff, that if they're a nuisance around a person's home, you can have them removed for a fee.
Yeah, no, that fee to them was that they get. That's what I told them, and the person was charging them $600 to have them removed. That's why I was asking, what can they do? Because they're saying $600 is just a little bit too much, and then the people that are doing them are outside of the area, so they're saying that that's justifying the cost, and that's for the first raccoon.
At Farm and Fleet, you can buy a live trap for less than probably $30 and trap them yourself.
You know, I bought one for $70, $80. That raccoon came in, ate the food, and left the door open. I'm just saying.
I have to agree with you, Mr. Snipes. We had put out a feral home with heat, let's say a good 65 degrees in there. And to my surprise, I had left some food out, and guess what was staring at me? Inside was a possum who decided he was living there. And I had to take the lid off and, as you said, shoo. And guess what? He wasn't shooing at all. So yeah, I didn't want to go too much further, but yeah, so, yeah, he had decided the feral cat was out. He's in.
We'll get some, we'll get some research about this and bring it up at the next meeting, okay?
Thank you.
We've done such an efficient job today. Is there any other new or old business? Ms. Peters is ready for. What would you like to do, Ms. Peters? Move to adjourn. And Ms. Dunbar, would you like to second it?
She's ready.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
It's adjourned.